Hello and welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Kat, and I draw art. And I usually have a fuzzy with me. Hi, baby. My little Kit Kat is here with me today. I don't know if you will be able to hear her or not, but apparently she wants to be a part of this drawing session. Dun dun dun! Alright, folks. To let you know what I am using, the drawing program or software that I'm using is the Sketchbook Pro, which is a really cheap alternative to a bunch of different types of drawing programs if you're ever looking for one. They also have a free version that you can get. So, there's some differences between the free and the pro version. Namely, folders! Folders are one of the greatest things ever. Layers are your best friends. If you do not know that, please, please learn it because, oh my god, are they so much better? It makes life so much easier. So, as for the actual tablet that I'm using, it is a Huon Canvas 19, I think. Yes, sweetheart, I see you. Alright, and the headphones and mic that I'm using is, oh baby, the Onikuma K1B Pro. I don't think that they make these anymore. And the recording software that I'm using is the free OBS system. And I'm sure that S means system. So anyone who is I was going to say anal retentive. Excuse me for being owed. But okay. Interesting. And now we go back to this one. Anyways, I know I'm being super weird, but that's totally okay. Because I'm allowed to be weird. After all, if you cannot be weird while you're doing art wrong. Or you're judging people too hard. Don't judge people hard. Life is difficult enough without judging people for enjoying the things that they enjoy. Unless you're hurting someone, in which case, shame on you. Do not hurt people. That is not nice. Anyways, so what I am drawing today is the Bird Whisperer Project Bird of the Month, which is the Dunnock. I have no idea where it comes from. I'm so sorry. This technically is supposed to be done tomorrow, and there's no way on God's green earth that I'm going to be able to finish this. At least not while I'm streaming. By the way, there's no way I'm going to finish this before it's supposed to be due. Or before it's due, which is tomorrow. There's no way. Unfortunately, life got really, really busy, and I haven't been doing really, really well to keep up with it. So, a little bit about my life. It's ridiculously busy. I work 5 jobs. Not joking. Barely joking. Barely joking. I have my day job, which is a graphic designer and graphic production. Yes, I do 2 for the price of 1. Don't do it. It's not a good way to do things. No, I'm joking. It keeps me busy, and I'm more of a backup graphic designer. Don't get me wrong. I still go and pick up stuff to go and do. But flip side, I also do a lot of graphic design on the side for a group called Tremendicon, which I will one day link along with everything else. I really do need to link everything. Anyways, so I work full-time as graphic designer and graphic production. And with that, that is my 9 to 5, literally 9 to 5 job. Or no, it is 8 to 5. 8 to 5 job. And then I go and volunteer my time and my skills for a local convention called Tremendicon. I really, really like them because they try to help people get into the field that they want to be in. And it's very, very new, so I highly recommend it. But it's also a convention. Come on, guys. Who doesn't like a good convention? Especially when there's a bunch of cool nerdy stuff going on. Like, there's making Legend of Zelda swords. Or the Master Sword. There we go. Master Sword. I love you, my dear. Why do you have to destroy my stuff? I also teach. I do lessons, art lessons. And I also do I also do this. I try to do this. And then I'm trying to transition to doing this more than what I have been doing. And let me tell you, that is a very, very hard transition to make. And I can go about that in deeper if you guys are interested, but I also work part-time as a pet sitter. So there's that. And soon there's a family event that I've got to go and make make the graphics for the invitations and things like that. And I am very, very late on that. Along with all the adulting stuff that I need to go and do. You know, pay bills, clean the house, make sure that my Kit Kat gets all her stuff, and yeah. I am a very tired human, and I didn't realize how much stuff I actually have taken on. I blame most of my not realizing how much craziness I've taken on the fact that I am semi-diagnosed neurodivergent. Why do I say semi-diagnosed? And I'm sure I've talked about this some. Again, my neurodivergency does not let me remember what I've actually talked about. And yes, I should go and remember what I've posted. But literally, I go and listen to Reddit stories while I'm at work, so meh. Yeah, it makes times very, very fun because, yeah, I go and react to the videos while I'm listening to them while I'm at work. Makes life super interesting. I try to be as non-client facing as possible, but don't get me wrong. If you're working as a graphic designer, you will eventually be client facing no matter what you do. Sad, sad truth. Anyways, so I am right, a semi bugger. Sorry. Ow. Semi-diagnosed. So I was diagnosed neurodivergent. Now, do I remember exactly what that neurodivergency is? No, because it's happened years ago and I wasn't actually told what the real diagnosis was. So I was diagnosed neurodivergent years ago. I did not get the help I needed for it. And I do not have that paperwork any longer. So, and I do not know what my formal diagnosis was. I have been told what it was, except that the person who told me is undiagnosed neurodivergent. You know, since neurodivergency tends to run in families, yeah, that's not a thing that is pleasant when the people who are supposed to help you out Kind of just like, yeah, I think it's this thing. Is it though? Is it not? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. It's like, oh, come on. Yeah, when everyone's neurodivergent, it makes life so much fun. Anyways, so there is that. And yeah. Now I don't remember what this was in reference to. Also, I've had lots of sugar, and while the sugary stuff is very good at keeping me awake and active, it also short circuits my brain. There was a study. I don't have the link to it because, you know, social media and everything else doesn't want you to actually be able to go and pinpoint your sources. Um, but there was a study that was done in which it found that sugar actually is more detrimental to the neurodivergent brain than it is to the rest of the brains, to neurotypical brains. There we go, neurotypical brains. Now that's not to say that there are not like healthy sugars like honey, but like overly processed sugars. And we all know that processed foods are really, really bad, but when you're broke, that's all you got. Processed sugar! So. Anyways. No. So, yes, this is how life goes. Now. But no, I realized that I've overstepped my boundary, or overstepped my abilities to go and do stuff. And now I'm just like, I'm not quite burned out yet, but I'm almost there. So there is a text message. I'm not gonna lie, there is a text message that I'm avoiding right now. I've been avoiding since about 10 o'clock this morning. I know, it's almost 10 at night. Full 12 hours. And I'm gonna have nightmares about it tonight. What? No, I'll probably answer it before I go to bed. Maybe. Or I might read. Yeah. Anyways, I realize I work way too much. I actually have had to, I have stopped eating in my studio, which is where I'm at right now, because I would go from work to eat in my studio, and then I would just like shut down and not be able to do anything. So there's that. Oh, right, and I have pin click. Starting this week, starting this month, I have pin click. I will provide a link for people's. I have pin click, and I know what I want to do, but I haven't started it yet. Which reminds me, I need to take a picture of the painting in question. What does this all mean? So for this month's pin click, it is something new from something old. Essentially what we're doing is repainting an old piece that we worked on. And I have that piece, don't get me wrong. I have that piece, I know exact, and I was going to end up doing it no matter what. And yeah. So I've got to get that done by Thursday evening. I think it's at 7. Definitely is not as late as my show. Anyways. Excuse me. So, yeah. Welcome to the brain of a neurodivergent person. I have 100% overwhelmed myself. And yeah. Yep. But that's okay. I'll figure it out. Not a good way to handle this. I recognize this as a true statement. So, I'm making thoughts that I'm like, I don't have time to make these thoughts. Anyways, should I be working on that other piece right now? Totally should. Am I going to? No. Why is that? Because I can't show what the piece is going to be before I finish it. Yeah, it's one of those things. Dun dun dun! It's a catch-22. Gotta love it. However, I will say, and I'm not sure how this is going to work out. I know I've done it before, but not with this family. And since I don't actually show myself on anything, I am... Oh, excuse me. I am going to end up doing the show during one of my pet visits. So that's fun. But don't worry. Nobody will know where I'm at. They might hear the puppers, but yes, I'm going to be taking care of puppers because unless a Kit Kat is... Okay, I'm going to sound really, really cold here, but unless a Kit Kat is dying or has medical reasons, they don't need overnights. And I know I sound really, really cold-hearted, but I'm really, really not being. I know it sounds absolutely like I'm being hypocritical and all that, but, or not necessarily hypocritical, but like, I understand why pet parents want their cats to have somebody stay with them. Believe me, I know. Every time I have done pet visits, my cat, my little fur baby, absolutely guilts me like nobody's business. Like, seriously. It is that bad. It is so bad. I always feel guilty. And what's even kind of worse now is I used to have a roommate, and so my fur baby would go and absolutely would absolutely smother my roommate. Like, my roommate was pretty allergic to my cat due to her dandruff, and my Kit Kat would absolutely smother her with absolutely all the attention. My Kit Kat likes to sleep on people's faces. I don't mind it so much, so long as her butt's not in my face, because that's like the only thing that bothers me. Um, and no, she likes to smother people in their faces. So it makes perfect sense that she would go and try to murder my roommate, who is absolutely allergic to her. That's not what I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to do. And, yeah. My roommate was absolutely... I felt so bad. But my Kit Kat, my very, very lovely Kit Kat, would always try to smother her with love and attention whenever I was gone. Well, now that I don't have a roommate anymore, my Kit Kat is very, very unhappy. She's already unhappy because she doesn't have a friend anymore. She doesn't have a fur friend anymore. She had a little, we called them siblings, her brother, who she ended up acting more like her kiddo. She acted like he was more like her kiddo whenever we first got him. But like, yeah. Anyways, but no, she's lonely now, and I feel really, really bad, but I don't have that kind of money currently to go and bring in a new fur baby. I would really like to go and bring in another pet, but I can't right now. Because new jobs are expensive. I know that sounds ridiculous, but they are expensive. And rent is also getting expensive. Life is expensive right now. I hope that one day, when I go back through my vids, I can just be like, ha! That was funny. I was so broke then. Um, that is not the case. That is, yeah, right. I really, really hope that one day that happens. Anyways, so yeah, no, that is definitely a thing that I wish. I'm sure everyone wishes that at some point. So, anyways, I hope that one day I am able to get her a new sibling because she misses her brother so very, very much. And so it's, people say that cats have no feelings, and clearly you have not been around enough cats to know. There are some cats, I kid you not, as a pet sitter, there were some cats I was just like, no, absolutely not. There was this one little shit that was absolutely the most adorable little Kit Kat and would purr and would run up to you and would go on your legs and literally, while purring, would claw the ever loving shit out of you. Like, absolutely would claw the ever loving shit out of you. And it was so freaking frustrating. Like, I I literally would I got into the habit of wearing metal toed shoes. Because, and unfortunately, they all had to be men's shoes because guess what? Women apparently can't work in places that required metal toed shoes. So you had to go and get men's shoes. Not that I mind because men's shoes are a little bit wider and so they allow more breathing room when it comes to your toes, to the toesies. Which I'm sorry, women's shoes do not. So if there are any people out there who are like, "Oh my god, women's shoes are the best," they are not. Don't get me wrong, they are sexy AF, but they are not practical. Honestly, okay, so here's my definition of clothes. Men's clothes are practical, women's clothes are fanciful. And I will only dress up in women's clothes if I'm being fanciful or if I'm going out really, really nicely. I will dress up in men's clothes if I am working. My everyday clothes are essentially men's clothes. Literally, I buy men's jeans because they have pockets and they're durable. Like, I carry around box cutters and X-Acto knives in my pockets all day. I really want this awesome belt, tool belt, that I've only seen at like Red Fairs and stuff. I really want it so bad. It's made out of leather. It's super cool. Anyways, um, but I have uh men's jeans, men's shoes, and yeah. So most of my wardrobe is men's clothes. Very little of it is women's clothes. Like I'll wear women's clothes for interviews and stuff, but essentially I just yeah, nice pair of jeans, a good shirt. Yeah, we're all good. As for work, I wear jeans, metal-toed shoes, and all that stuff. But you're a graphic production artist. Why do you need to wear metal shoes? Because there are some weird graphic production stuff that requires to have metal shoes. I worked prior to this job, I worked in a facility, and ask me about it, I dare you. Um I will say nothing I will say will be untrue, but it may get me into trouble. Maybe. But nothing I say will be untrue. Anyways, no, I worked on like 18-foot, 22-foot signs applying vinyl that had to be cut out. And I would work on these signs in the actual like production facility or in the actual like, hey, we did all of our welding. Hey, we've got like giant giant machinery coming through. So I'm out there in the sawdust and in the welding and in the paint applying this vinyl, and I'm just like, okay, everything could fall on me. And now mind you, these signs were, even though it was like 18 foot by like 5 feet, 6 feet, maybe 10 feet, you know, they were really light for what they were. Like I could move them one-handed. It was incredible, but they were still like these aluminum metal signs. And it was it, it was very dangerous because if something fell, it was going to break my foot. Like it was pretty bad. Don't get me wrong, it was an amazing experience and I absolutely loved my boss there. He was the most amazing dude. If you ever get the chance to if you ever work with him, like, dude's amazing. Which reminds me, I need to contact him for the family event thing. He does photography on the side on the weekends, and his photos are just fantastic. And he is well worth it, and it makes me cringe when I think about how much money that's going to end up being if I go and do it. But like I said, I gotta go and talk to family about stuff, about the family event stuff. Anyways, but no, the Kit Kat, yes, going back to the Kit Kat. Yeah, no, this Kit Kat would go and absolutely, for no reason, while purring, would absolutely try to claw the ever-loving crap out of me. And I did nothing except pet it and feed it and clean out its litter box and made sure that it had water and would play with it. And yeah, no, the cat would still claw me. Like, absolutely would still claw me. And yet would still come up to me. And I was like, dude, I cannot handle you. Either be nasty or don't. I need to know where I stand. It was the most crazy thing. It's like a crazy ex-girlfriend. Not that I've ever had a crazy ex-girlfriend. I don't want a crazy ex-girlfriend. Like, I really don't want a crazy ex-girlfriend. Like, if anyone has a crazy ex-girlfriend, man, I will say that I am not. I I may joke about it, but I am not. I'm very cautious about crazy ex-girlfriends. In a previous job, one of my coworkers, actually two of my coworkers, you know, they were really, really good people. Were trying to find their way in the world, and they were starting to get their lives together and everything. But the man of the couple, he had a daughter, and he loved her very, very much. And him and my friend, both of them were coworkers. But him and my friend were trying to, you know, do right by her and everything. And his ex was absolutely off the freaking wall bonkers. And I don't remember if he had finally gotten full custody of his daughter or not, but I knew that something had changed and they were very excited about it. And they had been talking about it, and next thing I know, because my friend had moved on and we were still chatting and everything, but she had moved on, and she was learning a new trade and everything. And next thing I know, they had been murdered by his ex-wife, his ex-girlfriend. While her daughter was in the fucking house. Excuse my language. So, I may joke about exes a little bit, but I am very much not so much interested in dealing with that. And here's the thing is that, it might be like, oh, this is like, why didn't he defend himself? The dude was ex-military. How do you, like, I don't know what would have happened to cause him to not assess the situation. Like, he had done tours. So I don't know what caused him to. Actually, no, he wasn't ex-military. He was a reservist. Um, so he was a reservist who had seen combat. So I don't know what could have stopped him from not from doing that. But she left her daughter in that house after she had murdered them. And it was pretty heartbreaking. Like, I lost my friend. And that little girl lost the only family that actually cared. And it's just heartbreaking. Now, I think the courts are still deciding. I haven't checked in on it in a while. But I know that the sentencing has been pretty swift. Like, there was a full-on, like, really quick investigation. I don't know if they've done a really deep one, but it was scary, and it made me very, very cautious. Shortly after that, another friend of mine ended up in a relationship with another in a similar relationship. The only difference is that the ex wasn't crazy. And they're doing fine. They're doing great. And I'm glad for them. But let me tell you that, like, it happened so soon after that I was just like, be careful. And my friend was just like, why? It was like, because of this. Like, that's not a thing. I was like, you never know. You never know. Like, people say that their exes are crazy, but very rarely does it happen like that kind of crazy. I will say that probably one reason why I thought about it is because I've been listening to way too much r slash, and I don't know if he'll ever listen to this, but the dude needs to take a break from reading Reddit. Like, he's starting to get, like, I don't know if he has, because I'm catching up on vids, and he's talked about it some, about like, yeah, no, I've been reading so many of these stories, I'm just like, I'm not doing well with this. And I was just like, no, you're even worse than when you were talking about this. So I think the dude needs to take, like, a nice long, I don't know, 6-month break from reading stories, because he's getting, like, really bad. Like, he started reading, what was it, r/ Am I the Devil? And I was just like, dude, you need to pull the F back. Like, it's really bad. Like, I listen to a lot of people who read Reddit stories, and I'm just like, and because of my neurodivergency, I know I keep blaming things on my neurodivergency. However, tell me, do you have the absolute, anyone who is neurotypical or believes that they're neurotypical, have you ever had the absolute, if I start this thing, I must go to the very, very beginning and listen or watch to all of this? If you say no, congratulations, you are probably neurotypical. If you say yes, you are probably neurodivergent. Because I have had to do that for pretty much everything. Like, believe me, it is physically painful that I do not have all of the Pokemon from the 1990, I think it's 1999 release of, no, it couldn't have been 1999 because Pokemon 2000 was Lugia. Sorry, now I'm gonna look this up. Okay, Pokemon the movie. When was that released? 98. 98 was that. So I am still physically like, it still physically bothers me the fact that I do not have a complete collection of the Pokemon from Burger King, the Pokemon toys from Burger King that they had. It is physically painful for me to think about the collection of Furbies that I do not have. Um, like, as a kid, I had to get collections. Like, I got a huge collection of the fake Tamagotchis, and I know I'm dating myself so bad here. Um, but I had a collection of the fake Tamagotchis, and every time that Barbie released new dolls with McDonald's, that was the only. By the way, my family was so broke that the only new Barbie dolls I got was from McDonald's. Um, so yeah, the Barbie doll. So it was every time that we couldn't complete the collection, it just became more and more physically painful for me, and like physically as in I needed to release anxiety, so I would have emotional outbursts. Yeah, I know, not great. um Sorry, but when you're a kid that has absolutely no support, you tend to have a lot of outbursts. Don't get me wrong, it's not something I'm particularly proud of and have much, much deep shame over it. Um, but the thing with that is, or with that is that it's just absolutely off the wall the amount of stuff that, you know, it was easier with like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Dude, I'm a huge Yu-Gi-Oh fan because there wasn't like a set number, and something I understood, and I couldn't complete uh when I couldn't complete that, it bothered me so much. Like, it still bothers me. um it's like this twinge in my back. Now, do I still go and get stuff today? No, no, I don't. But, like, do I try to complete collections? Very, very rarely. Now, most of my collections are books, which, you know, that's always a good investment. However, it does provide a problem with hoarding. I have a very serious, like, camera hoarding problem. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, okay, it's not so bad. 6 cameras. Most of them are all different kinds of cameras. Okay, it's not as bad as I thought. I know that sounds really, really bad. So I have 6 different types of cameras. And, you know, there's that. I don't recommend getting into hoarding. It's a very bad thing to have. I know it sounds so bad. It's like, yeah, go hoarding. No, don't do it. It's a trap. I also have problems with like movies and things. So, whenever I get books, I have to get books that are of the same publishing type or the same like covers. I currently have, it's really hard for me to ignore it, but I will tell you probably one of my biggest pet peeves is every time I read Aragon, the Aragon series, or the Inheritance Quartet. There it is. The Inheritance Quartet, by Christopher Poloni. My biggest problem is that I have two books okay, so there was like a very short amount of time around the time that Twilight was originally published. Yes, I read Twilight. Um, so when Twilight was originally published, they did this weird thing where they actually put quality paper inside of paperbacks. So I have two Aragon books, and both of them are signed, or all my Aragon books are signed. I have two paperback books, Aragon books, that are absolutely gorgeous. And the other two that I have are not paperbacks, and it bothers me so much. Now, granted, I haven't gone looking for them because I already have them and they're already signed, and I'm not willing to get rid of them, and I don't want to buy more I don't want to buy more books than what I already have. I mean, let me rephrase that. I don't want to go and buy the same copies I already have. It bothers me enough that I do this on Steam. And the only reason why I did it on Steam is because the Steam version of games, the ones that I get that I already have, usually have the expansions and the DLCs. That, for some godforsaken reason, unless you can really, really find them, you don't have on the website. So that's always fun. Anyways. But yes, no, it bothers me when I have an incomplete collection. And Steam has not helped this because I have bought I have all the Witchers, even though I've never played, or I have played very little of the first one. My computer, don't get me wrong, is definitely not like, woohoo, super brand spanking new. But it's still a really, really good computer. But, like, I think it's a really, really good computer for what it does. Or for what it is. Honestly, no, knock on wood, I've had really, really good luck with computers. You wanna know how good my luck is? For those of you who remember, Windows Vista was absolutely terrible. To everyone except for me. I never had a problem with Windows Vista. I could run any program I wanted on it, and I never had a problem with it. The only problem I had with my with my laptop that had Windows Vista was that it would heat anything else up. My dad had a computer tech friend who would go and check out our computers and make sure that they were all virus free and yada yada. And he one day he was working on my laptop in my dad's tower, and he had set my laptop on top of my dad's tower, and my dad's tower kept shutting down. And guy's like, why does this keep doing this? I'm like, take my laptop off. That won't make a difference. I was like, dude, bet. He's like, fine, whatever. He took my laptop off, worked perfectly fine. The tower worked perfectly fine afterwards. He's like, I've never seen a computer do that before. It's like, yeah, my laptop's a little bit abused, so I can't say that I would be surprised. Yeah, I was not very nice to my laptop, and it was all by accident. It was all by accident. Like, here's the thing, is that I had, like, 2 months into having my laptop, is like still brand spanking new. I was doing this competition and whatever, so I took my laptop. So then, since we were staying the night, took my laptop, and so that I could go and watch movies in the hotel and stuff and surf the net, and I spilt soda on it. I was like, no! it's all gonna fry. And it didn't. I just had to go and, get stuff off of it. And then years later, now this was after it had been abused by my high school self. Years later, I was playing some video games in my room, and I had some candles lit up on this windowsill that was over my desk. And I had my laptop hooked in. I was listening to some music on some speakers and stuff. This was before Bluetooth was common. And I had my wired speakers in, and they were all plugged in and everything. I was like, do. Well, I crossed the, I was trying to go from one place to another in my room, and I accidentally caught the speakers. Well, shenanigans happened, and I accidentally spilled wax all over my hot wax all over my keyboard. I was not very nice to my laptop, and oh my god, I do feel bad too. I do feel bad about my laptop. It was just so sad. So it was, man, that thing was a beast. My roommate was a computer tech, or is a computer tech, and whenever she saw my laptop, she was like, how the hell is this thing still working? I was like, it just does. She was like, this is ridiculous. It's over 10 years old now. It's like, shut up, it still works. Not for what you need it to do. It's like, shut up, I still love it. She's like, too bad. It's like, fine. So I ended up getting a new laptop. That thing didn't even last 3 years. I was so upset. Now, this new laptop I have, it is beast, and I will use it until it dies. Now, I will say it does not handle Rebel real well. Mostly because it needs a better graphics card for it. And I'm too cheap to go and buy a new laptop. Because that shit's expensive. Because I need a gaming laptop. And I know that I've said this before, if you want to go into art, or digital, if you want to get into digital art, use gaming gear, because they are both focused on graphics, and that's where a lot of that's going to go, is because programs like Rebel, Adobe, pretty much anything that requires a lot of RAM or lots of graphics, a lot of stuff that's graphics heavy. Luckily, Sketchbook is not as graphics heavy. It does not require as much graphics, but anything that is graphics heavy, I highly recommend getting something that is geared towards gaming, because it will end up helping in the future, and you don't have to spend as much in order to bring it up to what you need it to be in order to do art. I hope that made a lot of sense. Anyways. So, yeah, that is definitely a thing. But just because something isn't the newest or the most expensive does not mean that it will not work. Like, a lot of my stuff is, very few of the things I have are brand spanking new. My philosophy is, so long as it works and does the job, it will work. It is not that big of a deal. Now, some people might be like, oh my god, you're such a cheapskate. You're right, I am, because bills are expensive. But I've also been very lucky to the people who have helped me out with it. Like I said, damn it. Like I said, my roommate was computer tech, and she hooked me up with a really good laptop. Don't be afraid to ask people for help, is the best thing that I can say. Especially those that really want to see you succeed. those are the people and who will help you succeed in every way that they can. Honestly, she is my best friend. I may not be hers, but she is my best friend. Oh no. My screen has started going green randomly, and I think it's because I kept moving around the monitor that I've been working on. Oops! I will have to go and, after the session is over, I will have to go and, check the cables. I really shouldn't play with... Once something's plugged in, leave it alone. I can't. But technically, the golden rule is to leave it alone. Yeah. So, if I suddenly stop drawing for no apparent reason aside from talking, I'm just like, oh no, oh no, oh no, fire, fire! No. It's because my screen has gone green. Or my little fur baby has done something absolutely terrible. In which case I might be screaming fire, fire. Anyways. So, no. No. My roommate is my best friend. I may not be hers, which is fine. People can have their own best friends. But no. She definitely has helped me out a lot, and I wish I could go and help her out more. I don't feel like I have anything that I can help her with, except maybe make her house super pretty. Which I need to go and start doing that project. I have several projects for her that I want to go and do. But I have yet to complete them. Mostly because my brain's like, oh, but I want to go and do this, this, and this. And I'm just like, can I do this, this, and this? And I'm just like, how do I do this? And recently, I read this thing that said, if it's hard to start a project, then the first step's too big. And so I've been trying to live by that mantra and then break down my projects. Unfortunately, I've also been living by, if it's not in the planner, it doesn't exist. And then I go and do this, which is not in the planner. Well, okay, doing the live stream is in the planner, but not doing this specific project. This specific project is not in the planner. And yet, here we are. Here we are. Don't know the rest of that song, but I love that song. I think that's the one that is from Highlander. I think that's one of the songs from Highlander. Highlander was legitimately my introduction to Queen. If you haven't seen Highlander, it is an excellent movie. Just don't watch the second one. Honestly, I thought the third one was the second one for the longest time. And then I found out that the second one existed. And I was just like, okay, after having watched it. And I feel so bad for everyone who was involved with that second one. I really do. There's also a TV series. I think there's multiples, and then I think there's like B-movie movies that have to do with the TV series. I really don't know. But yeah, it's incredible. The original, like, two movies, two quote-unquote movies, are just so fantastic. I really love them. I really like the fact that Queen actually worked on it. Pretty much any movie that was done by Queen during that time period was movies that I watched as a child. Like, legit, those were my movies. I know it sounds so really, really bad. Because they are not child appropriate. Like, they are super not child appropriate. But I was watching very inappropriate things as a child. Um, like, it was incredible the amount of stuff that I was watching that I should definitely not have been. Like, I was watching Bordello of Blood. Um, what was it? Bordello of Blood. I don't know. A bunch of Crypt Keeper episodes. Um, I think my mom threw out like all of my brother's movies once she found out that I was watching them. Probably between Bram Stoker's Dracula, the 90s movie that had Keanu Reeves, Anthony Hopkins, and Gary Oldman in it. Uh that was probably where my love of vampires came from. Then of course Vampire or Bordello of Blood, and then like I okay, I say was. I actually really, really am into vampires. Yes, I did read Twilight, but I'm not saying that Twilight was the best movie ever or book ever. I really enjoyed it up until a point in which I was listening into a book discussion about it and I was gonna jump in because back in the day, that's what I did. Don't get me wrong, I still do that. Um, but I try to make great strides in not doing that nowadays. Now it's more like, oh crap, I accidentally burst into this. Let me go and finish what I was saying and then go for it. Because I have already done this. Might as well make the full use of it. But I try to make sure that whenever I do that, I'm like, okay, you were the person who was talking, and I apologize. You go again. Then the next person goes. I feel really bad about doing that, but it does happen. I accept that, and now I try to make strides to minimize it. Anyways, but no, I watched a lot of that stuff, but no, I've always been interested in vampires. Oh right, Twilight. Twilight was just another. Right. Um, they were talking about how Bella was this very passive person in the story. And honestly, it's kind of like Indiana Jones. The story would happen with or without her, honestly. She was just like, oh, this thing's gonna happen. Woo. And everything happens, honestly, without her doing much. Like she puts things into motion, but afterwards, she doesn't really do much with anything. She's just like a witness to all the things that happen. I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, and looking at it in that way, I kind of realized that I'm not a big fan of Twilight. I prefer my female protagonists being protagonists. Like, Tamora Pierce is one of my absolute favorite authors. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely hate her Circle series. If you read Tamora Pierce and you know her catalog, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I absolutely hate her Circle Open series or her Circle series, and I dislike her the Immortals War series. But the rest of them, I enjoy. I will say it's I guess it's because the rest of them actually take a closer look into what it takes to being female or male. Like, there were some things in her latest book that I was just like, oh, I didn't know that about dudes. That makes sense. Why wouldn't that make sense? So I do recommend that. Similarly, John Flanagan. I like reading a lot of YA. It's a lot. I don't want to say it's a lot easier to read, but it is overall better. Um, because or they're You don't have a long build up, and you don't have a lot of background. You have enough of a background to get into the story, but you don't have to read like 30,000 pages in order to understand what's going on, which is great. Okay, enough about my critiques of books. We are done for the evening, and as you can see, I am nowhere near done for this painting. Absolutely not at all. So we'll see if I get it done before the end of the month. Woot! Again, Thursday I will be a part of Pin Click, and I will not be on this channel that night. Dun dun dun! And I will chat with you all later. Stay safe out there. I look forward to seeing you guys again. I will probably also not be on here Saturday night due to the pet sitting. There's a lot of other things that go on with that. But I do apologize about this past Saturday. I was not feeling great, and I ended up passing out pretty early. Like, it was bad. It was real bad. I was in bed like an old person. It was so bad. Anyway, there's nothing wrong with being an old person. But no, I did not feel great. And so I apologize to you folks. However, I will let you know this. Next time I do a game stream, Saturday gaming stream, I'm doing it with a friend. Dun dun dun! Alright, folks, I hope that y'all have a good night. Stay safe out there. I'll look forward to seeing you next time. And have a good one! Because you guys are awesome! Bye!